going on, Blossoms back? Welcome back to, I know, say it with me, Garage Review. It's been a very long time. I do not do this very often, and I apologize to everyone that is waiting or have waited. I know they take a long time. This one in particular, I told him that I was going to get the Garage Review done before I went to Japan. Yeah, well, here I am after Japan. I genuinely didn't have enough time, and these garage reviews take a lot of time to do, and I just want to make sure that I get the quality in for especially the owner. But anyway, before we get into today's episode of Garage Review, shout out to the diecast segment. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have a submission from Kuroi, which is also the owner of this garage that we're reviewing today. It's just a video for him, basically, and he is showcasing a Citroen C4 WRC while watching one of my videos with the prize car Viper. So thank you so much for the submission, and as always, guys, if you are watching, you want to showcase your diecast to be featured in my videos, feel free to text me on Instagram, and I will probably get to you and post it on one of these videos. But anyway, before we get into today's garage review, let me give you a rundown on what we can expect. Today's garage that we are going to be checking out is a free-to-play garage. So everyone watching, if you're free to play, rejoice, because it's a little bit more relatable, and I do understand that. It's always nice to relate to a garage being showcased on this series. So it's a free-to-play garage, and it's less than 2 years old. He's been playing for just a little over 600 days. It was 594 when he sent in the questionnaire, and that was 2 weeks ago. So 594 plus 14, you guys can do the math if you want to. I believe it's like 613, maybe 615, somewhere along that line, okay? But yeah, 600 plus days old. Here's another thing, very quirky. His favorite car is the Audi RS6, the 2020 RS6. Favorite niche is saloons and sedans, but four-wheel drive. Well, saloons are sedans, so saloon sedans that are four-wheel drive. So kind of similar to me, I like to collect all kinds of saloons. I do prefer the rear-wheel drive ones. He prefers the four-wheel drive ones. So it's honestly, Top Drives is the perfect game for you if you love Audis and you love four-wheel drive sedans. You know, we've got a bunch, from the Bentleys to the Audis to the Subarus. You're gonna be sorted out for life. So I think you got the right game going on for you, Kuroi, if you like that kind of stuff. Here's a funny one. So I asked him what his favorite brand and country was. He said that his favorite brand was mainly Audis, and his favorite country was anything German besides BMW. So if you love BMW, this is not it for you, because he doesn't like his BMWs. I don't know why, but he doesn't like them. In terms of clubs, he plays once or twice per hour. He knows Boston Choice, and his dream prize car is, of course, the RS6 GT. In terms of his goals, he is a free-to-play player that just wants to focus on challenges, and I like that. That's a very doable goal. That's a very realistic goal. He's not saying that I want every Tri-Series prize car in the game, you know? Like, you know, challenges. Sure, we can definitely complete challenges at a free-to-play level for a garage that is less than 2 years old. So with that being said, let's get into it. I'm gonna bring this down just a little bit slower. I got the playback speed pretty quickly when I reviewed the garage, but obviously, you know, for viewing purposes, I think 0.75 might be a little bit better. We're gonna check out the common selection right now. As always, I am reading off notes because I always make garage review notes before I record the video. If you guys are interested to see the notes, and this is basically what you're gonna get. If you're gonna get a garage review from me, this is basically what you're gonna get. You're gonna get an entire, basically, Google Doc on every in-depth thing that I want to say. And if you want to see an example, I'll link Kuroi's garage notes in the description below. But basically what I'm telling him is to focus on the cars to upgrade and cars to collect. Here, the number one thing for a free-to-play player, I would say especially for a free-to-play player, but this kind of just, it affects everyone, you know, pay to win, intermediates, free to play, whatever it is, it does apply to everybody, but especially for free to plays. Focus on what you have, don't wish on, you know, getting what you want. A lot of people, when they get the game, when they play Top Drives, they're just like, oh my god, my favorite car is, for example, a Porsche 996 GT3. And they will do everything in their power to try and get their wish list that. Every time they open a pack, they're just looking for that one car. This is a game with over 7,000 cars. Like, the odds are you're probably not going to get that car that you so desire. Especially if you're free to play, you're not going to get that car anytime soon. I mean, I'm not even free to play. I want the DBS Superleggera, and it's been in the game for 4 plus, maybe 5 years, and I've never gotten the DBS Superleggera. So one thing that you really need to focus on as a free to play player is, dude, focus on what you have. don't think about what you can get. Look at what you've got, bolster what you have. So a lot of the things that I've given him in terms of notes is, when you look at the commons, max what you have right now. The Volvo 1800 ES is a fantastic standard tire common car to own in your garage. Focus on that, max on that. Some other cars that are great, the Suzuki Cappuccino. Every time I look at this car, it reminds me of Lee. Or even the Pontiac Firebird, that he also has in his garage. Honda Beat, for example. The Pontiac 6000 ST all-wheel drive, a fantastic car to use for the wet. The wet meta for the commons, he was saying that he plays clubs once or twice per hour. If it's ever common in clubs, the cars that you want to go for, if it's wet, cars that you can rely upon, Pontiac 6000 ST is a great one. Volvo 1000 ES is a great one as well. So those are two great cars that you can definitely focus on. That Pontiac, I believe it's a saloon? Yeah, so that works out for your niche, although it's not four-wheel drive. Moving on to the uncommons, and this is basically true for every single rarity that we're going to see today. Focus on what you got. Focus on what you got. You've got some stock cars here, and a lot of them have potential. Also, at the same time, he did mention that he wants to focus on challenges. Now, that creates a new conundrum, I guess. It's not really a conundrum, but it creates a new level of strategy that you need to apply. If you are focusing on challenges, you really don't know what car is going to be useful for a challenge until the tag comes out, right? So one thing that I see, a big mistake that a lot of free-to-play players make, is that if they're focusing on challenges and they know that they don't know what cars to collect for a challenge, they'll try and collect everything, FOMO, fear of missing out. They think that, if we get this, like for example, the Subaru Legacy from 1990. If you get it now, it might not be useful right now. It might not be useful in the next 2 years. But the idea is that, because you never know when you'll get it again, you'll never know when it'll be useful in a challenge, I'm gonna keep it. Now, I think that that's a little bit too extreme, especially if you're a free-to-play player. You don't have a lot of slots lying around. You cannot keep every single car in the game. That is just virtually impossible. So one thing that I would advise is that if you're going for, challenges, you're a free-to-play player, only collect the cars when you know you need them. For example, Hugo's collection, when that comes out, they'll give you a pack, which is like a free starter pack where you get it's usually like an aluminum pack, and you get like a couple uncommons and a rare from that challenge. Use that to your advantage. When you get those cars, then upgrade them, because the downside is you don't have a lot of slots as a free to play. If you have a lot of slots, sure, go for it, collect whatever you want. But most free-to-plays don't have a lot of slots. So if you get the Subaru Legacy and you think, oh my god, I don't know when I'll unpack it again, and I might use it for a challenge. Yeah, it might be useful in a challenge like 4 years from now, but you've been hoarding that slot for 4 years that could have been used for another car. You know what I mean? And if you're doing that for multiple cars, you're just hoarding a bunch of slots. Just too many. So yeah, don't try and collect everything, I would say. Focus on the cars when they're finally needed for a challenge, when they finally get that tag. That's when you can start keeping them around, maxing them out, and that's when it'll be useful. Some of the cars that I would definitely recommend Kuroy to upgrade as well are some of these newer cars, right? Like the Hyundai Ioniq 9 and the Hyundai Kona, especially the higher RQ stuff. Because they usually are the better cars, right? You gotta kind of trust the RQ. I know, don't trust the RQ all the time, but more often than not, an RQ29 is going to be an RQ21. Okay, that's pretty fair to say. More often than not, like 90% of the time. All right, moving on to the rares now. Pretty clean as well. I would say that this is this is a thing that I always see with free-to-play accounts. You can't tell that they're free to play when you're looking at the lower rarities. It only becomes evident when you look at the higher rarities, because those are the ones where, it's definitely a lot harder to get. For the super rares, for the rares and the super rares, again, it's the same advice, right? Just focus on what you have. Don't try and, reach out for something that you might not get for a months or even years at this point. There's some really good cars here. Some other things that I also mentioned is, you can focus on duplicates. If you play a lot of clubs, and he seems to play a decent amount of clubs because it says once or twice an hour, it would be good to get some duplicates and some really useful cars. Things like the Yabar 500E. This car is a little bit of a sleeper, a little bit of a bargain because it's RQ35. Definitely a car that I would definitely get 2 of. Things like the Ford Mustang Boss, okay, that used to be really good as an uncommon, maybe not as good as a rare anymore. Fiat Panda car is pretty decent, if you need anything super twisty off-road, like a slalom dirt, or maybe even a slalom snow, that would be a really useful car to use. Some other great cars in the arsenal, I see Twizy. Some cars that you can upgrade include the Suzuki Swift. I don't know how good that Suzuki Swift is going to be, but it has potential. 4-wheel drive, standard, medium, decent handling when you max it out. I would like to see how it compares up to like an Enyaq, for example, but I do think that the Enyaq is going to be a better car at the end of the day. It's got the lower 0 to 60 and the lower top speed, which usually, is the better car. Because usually you get a higher RQ if you have a higher top speed, but it really doesn't matter if you're a twisty car, you're not going to hit the top speed anyway. It's a whole different thing. But yeah, some other great rares here. Lotus 7 twin cam, he already has that fully upgraded. He already knows what to do. So that's pretty nice to see as well. The Jannetta G40, Donkavort S8, all really great cars, and hopefully, oh yeah, Buick Grand National. I would get a second one, 332 for Ocean City Streets. I think that'd be pretty decent as well. AC is a good one. MK1, that's a great one to get as well. Moving on to the super rares. Again, like I said, this is where you see I guess the noviceness show a little bit more in the garage. It's a free-to-play account, less than 2 years old. Not a lot of cars fully upgraded here. Definitely focus on what you got. Some cars that are already, listed down as some potential cars that you can max include the 41 Audi TT Quattro, the 47 Hyundai Santa Fe, the 49 Pontiac Solstice. Now, why am I choosing these cars in particular? Audi TT Quattro is because he loves Audi. And I think it's really important that, I feel like a lot of players, when they get top drives, they want to follow the meta. They want to collect, the best cars, and that's fine. But remember, at the end of the day, this is a game, and you want to enjoy the journey. And sometimes enjoying the journey doesn't mean that you're maxing every single meta car. Sometimes enjoying the journey means that you're maxing out a passion project. For example, the Lamborghini Countach, this RQ46, bloody useless. You're not going to be using it in clubs, events, anything at all. It's just terrible. But if you love Italian cars and you love the Countach, every once in a while, max it. Choose a passion project, especially at this point. I feel like you're more carefree when you're not competing for a Tri-Series, when you know you can't compete for a Tri-Series. What's the rush? Why be so anal about it? If you can't compete for a prize car, what I would do if I were you, maybe I'd max maybe 2 meta cars, then 1 passion project, 2 meta cars, and then 1 passion project. So, once you've done your Jannetta G40 Cup, which is pretty meta, once you've done your Lotus Elise Sprint, which is pretty meta, go for a car that you enjoy. And that's why I, suggested that he could go max the Audi TT Quattro. That's a fun one. He likes Audis. Go for it. Max an Audi. I suggested the Hyundai Santa Fe that you see over here. Why? Because it's new. And we're probably going to see some events, surrounding the new cars, or some challenges surrounding the new cars. One thing that we can definitely expect, especially if you are a free-to-play player and you want to focus on challenges, is that when there's a new update, there are probably going to be new challenges. So you can get ahead of the game by upgrading the newer cars first. That will help you out in challenges that will come. And then things like the Pontiac Solstice is because they're good. That's all. Moving on to the rare, ultra rares. As always with every single garage review, I give the same advice in a sense where, same advice but different results. In a sense where these are the cars that you can keep, these are the cars you can get rid of, these are the cars that you can spend into an epic, stuff like that. Don't be afraid to let go of a car that is 1 star. If it's not going to help you in the long term, there's no point keeping it around and having it hold that space, if you will. There's some pretty decent cars in here as well. The Chevrolet Camaro SS, a car that I have on Gawams, a car that Kuroy has in his garage, a car that I do not have on my main. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I can't seem to unpack that. There's some pretty good ones here. The Lotus 340R. Unfortunately, the Zenus is a better car, but hey, don't be fixated on the things that you don't have yet. If you get a Zenus in the future, great. But right now, you don't have it. That's the reality of the situation. Max what you got. Lotus 340R is a great one. That being said, what I just said is a little bit counterintuitive, because max what you got still means, it's applied to the next best option that is still competent. Okay, let's say if you don't have the Zenus and you don't have the Lotus 340R, and your best option of a twisty car in your garage is an RQ41 Dodge, which is somewhat, that's some, ultra rares, right? So it's RQ51 Dodge. You gotta draw a boundary somewhere, right? Even though that might be the best option for you in a hypothetical situation like that, don't max that. You gotta draw the line somewhere. And the Lotus 340R is a great substitute if you don't have a Zenus. That's fine. Another car I can think of is the blue Lotus Exige. That's also a pretty good substitute if you do not own a 340R or a Zenus. But if you're gonna tell yourself that I'm gonna go and max an RQ54 Acura NSX because it's my best twisty car, and it's the best substitute to a Lotus 340R or a Zenus, that's pushing the boundaries, right? So just be smart about things. Moving on to the epics. Okay, Earlier on, we were talking about how we gotta have fun when we play the game. We gotta have fun when we play the game. And over here, I don't see a single maxed epic. I kind of commend that, but also at the same time, it's like, what are we doing here? You know, you've been playing the game for 2 years, and you're telling me that you've never let go once to upgrade something that you like? Enjoy the game, man. If you want to max the Audi RS5, go max the Audi RS5. 95 handling, 4-wheel drive when you max it out. If that is 86 stock, it might be. Also, was this car a legend? It was a legend. But I'm asking, in your garage, is this car a legend? You know what I mean? Or did you unpack it as an epic? If you unpacked it as an epic, I would upgrade it. If you unpacked it as a legend, I wouldn't sell it right away, but I wouldn't max it. Definitely wouldn't max it. And I wouldn't waste material on that. Some other cars that are also really cool, if you want to upgrade in terms of like the meta way, Ford Fusion might be pretty decent. The Saline S1 is always going to be great as well. But yeah, man, I mean, I'm surprised. 2 years of playing the game, not a single maxed epic. I'm not asking you to burn your ultra rare fuse and just like, you know, max an epic just for the hell of it. But I'm kind of just surprised that you've not maxed one over 2 years, you know, that you've never, you know, kind of let loose and kind of just upgrade an epic for the hell of it. I mean, think about it. Gawams, for example, is like 6 months old. And I have 2 maxed epics on that already, you know? They're good epics. You know, I didn't do it just for fun. They're good epics, Spiker and the Ultima, both like 75 RQ plus. But yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised that there's not a single max epic there. Again, if you want to save your ultra rares, if that's your name of the game, if you want to save your ultra rares and wait for the right moment for a challenge to max the right car, fine. That's fine too. Completely get it. Moving on to Legends, again, for a 2-year-old garage, pretty good Legends here, I would say. GT3 RS, right, 991, I want that in my garage. I've never unpacked it before. Syracuse, my Viper TA, that's a good one to get. And of course, the Furai. And since he sent this video yesterday, by the way, he pulled another Legend, which is the Caterham 7620R, or whatever it's called, the RQ87 one. That's a great car to have as well. Look, you're in no position for me to tell you, go max a Legend, but also at the same time, you know, you could, mainly because you're not in contention for a prize car anytime soon. But also, if you want to have that long-term planning, if you want to save the fuse material for a Tri-Series prize car, go for it. But right now, you know, Tri-Series prizes not really in your grasp yet. So if you really wanted to let loose and max a Legend, you could. It depends on how serious you want a Tri-Series prize. Or another way is just wait for a challenge and wait for a car that's useful for a challenge. But I think none of these cars are part of Hugo's collection, right? I don't have Hugo's collection memorized yet, but I don't think any of these cars are Hugo's collection. So you couldn't even max a Legend for that challenge if you wanted to. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Garage Review. Expect another episode in like 6 months' time. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Kiroi, thank you so much for sending in your garage. Another thing that I didn't mention, but I did mention in the notes, is that, you know, things like the Dodge Powerbox, you know, if that was an ultra rare before it went up to an epic, no point keeping it around. Just fuse it away. Not immediately, but you can fuse it away. You know, put it in the fuse pile. But yeah, anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Let me know down in the comments below how you would play the game, how you think of the advice that I've given. Obviously, any advice that I give in a garage review is something that I would do myself in my garage, depending on what my goals are. But we know what his goals are. He wants to go for challenges. So far, I don't know much about him wanting to go for a Tri-Series. I don't think he should go for a Tri-Series right now. It's a little bit unrealistic to go for one right now. So for challenges, I believe that the advice that I've given is something that I would do if I was in his situation. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys have a great day. Stay safe, wash your hands, and that's another episode of Garage Review. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight.